Assalamu alaikum and a very good day to our benevolent lecturer Dr. Sakia and my beloved friends. My name is Muhammad Lutfi from Tslb PISMP 2023-2024 and I'm here to share with you the three types of different contexts in English. Before we dive deeper into the details, here's a quick overview of today's agenda. First, we will discuss the definition of each context and how they affect our daily lives. Then I will introduce an illustration for each context and explain how it works. After that, we will explore the potential benefits and outcomes we can expect from those contexts, pros and cons perhaps. Finally, we will conclude with a Q&A session to address any questions or concerns. Let's start by looking at the first context, which is the situational context. As we are all well accustomed to, situational context refers to the specific environment, circumstances, or setting in which communication takes place. This includes various factors such as the physical space, the time, the purpose of the interaction, and most importantly, the participants involved. These elements combine to influence how we behave, communicate, and make decisions in different settings. In our daily lives, situational contexts shape nearly every interaction we have. They help dictate the tone, the words we use, and even our body language. For example, compare a formal business meeting with a casual conversation at a coffee shop. Just hearing the words formal and casual allows us to mentally distinguish between these two scenarios. In a formal meeting, where the goal might be to discuss important decisions or present strategies, people typically speak more professionally, choose their words carefully, and pay attention to hierarchy and etiquette. In contrast, a casual chat at a cafe allows for more relaxed behavior, informal language, and a much less structured flow of conversation. This image demonstrates how situational context influences communication and behavior based on the time of day and environment. In the morning scene, the individuals are dressed in formal business attire, sitting at a table with notebooks and pens, indicating a formal setting such as a business meeting or work discussion. The serious expression and structured posture suggest a professional tone where communication is slightly focused, formal and goal-oriented, influenced by the work environment and the expectation of a meeting. In contrast, the night scene shows a more relaxed setting. The attire, though still professional, is slightly more casual, such as loosened tie, rolled up sleeves, and the body language is more informal, with both individuals sitting comfortably. The shift from a formal, structured morning context to a relaxed, informal evening context illustrates how situational factors such as time, environment, and the purpose of the interaction shape communication styles and behaviors. It is clear that the formality or informality of a situation significantly impacts how we act. In formal situations, we are more likely to adhere to specific social norms, maintain professionalism, and suppress any impulses that might be inappropriate. While in informal settings, we are more open, expressive, and willing to engage in spontaneous or light-hearted conversation. This adaptability is a positive aspect of situational context. It ensures that our behavior and communication fit the environment, making interactions smoother and more comfortable for everyone involved. However, situational context isn't without its downsides. While it plays a vital role in helping us navigate various environments, it can also create pressure to conform to societal norms or expectations, potentially limiting authentic self-expression. In many situations, people feel compelled to speak or act in a way that aligns with what is socially acceptable, even if it doesn't reflect their true thoughts or feelings. In conclusion, situational contexts profoundly shape our interaction and behavior. They ensure that communication is appropriate for the environment, helping to maintain order and respect in formal settings and allowing for more openness and relaxation in informal ones. However, this same context can also act as a barrier to authentic self-expression, particularly when authority or social norms are involved. To foster an environment where true collaboration and open dialogue can thrive, it's essential to recognize these limitations and work towards creating spaces where differing opinions are not only welcomed but encouraged regardless of the situational pressure. Okay, so moving on to the next point, we have the cultural context. This context refers to the values, beliefs, norms, and tradition that shape how individuals communicate, behave, and interact within a specific society or community. It encompasses a wide range of factors, including language, customs, social roles, and even non-verbal cues like gestures, body language. In essence, cultural context acts as the lens through which people understand and interpret the world around them. Cultural context is deeply ingrained in our daily lives and can significantly affect the way we communicate. It dictates not only what is considered appropriate or inappropriate behavior, but also how we express ourselves, how we relate to others, and how we interpret messages. For example, the concept of personal space varies widely between cultures. In some Western societies, maintaining a certain physical distance during conversation is a sign of respect and professionalism. However, in many Middle Eastern or Latin cultures, people might stand much closer during interaction, as physical proximity is seen as a sign of warmth and engagement. This image provides a clear example of how cultural context shapes interactions, specifically in an Asian Western business setting. Here, the individual are engaging in a business interaction where cultural norms of respect and formality are evident, especially between the Japanese participants and the Western individual. First of all, we have bowing. The Japanese professionals are bowing, which is a traditional gesture of respect in Japan. Bowing is used to greet, show appreciation, or apologize. In professional settings, the depth and duration of the bow often indicate the level of respect being shown. Bowing is deeply ingrained in Japanese culture as a non-verbal expression of humility and politeness. Handshake, the Western individual is engaging in handshake, which is a common greeting in many Western countries, especially in business contexts. The Japanese person in the middle is reciprocating with a handshake while also bowing. This blend of the two cultural customs, bowing and shaking, signifies a cross-cultural interaction where both parties are respecting each other's tradition. The image highlights how individuals from different cultural backgrounds can adapt to another's practices. The Japanese professionals maintain their cultural practice of bowing while acknowledging the Western custom of handshake. This act of combining gestures reflects cultural sensitivity and mutual respect in business dealings. All participants are dressed in formal business attire, which aligns with the Japanese emphasis of formality, especially in professional environment. In Japan, the formality of one's appearance is considered a reflection of one's respect for the occasion and the people involved. However, much like the situational context before, cultural context has its challenges. One significant drawback is that it can sometimes lead to misunderstandings or miscommunication, especially when individuals from different cultural backgrounds interact. For example, an American business person might interpret a Japanese colleague's silence during a meeting as disinterest, when in fact, the silence is a sign of respect and careful consideration in Japanese culture. Likewise, someone from a more direct speaking culture may come across as rude or overly assertive in contexts where indirect communication is the norm. These cultural differences can also result in discomfort or conflict when individuals feel pressured to conform to cultural norms that don't align with their personal belief or experiences. For example, in cultures with rigid gender roles, individuals who do not fit into these traditional roles may feel suppressed. In conclusion, cultural context profoundly influences how we communicate, behave, and interpret the world. It provides structured identity and a sense of belonging, but it can also create barriers to understanding and self-expression, particularly when navigating cross-cultural interactions. By recognizing and respecting the cultural norms of others, we can foster more inclusive and respectful environments where diversity is celebrated and authentic communication thrives. Finally, let's turn our attention to the last context, which is interpersonal context. Interpersonal context refers to the relationship between the individuals involved in a communication exchange. It involves the dynamics of power, familiarity, roles, emotions, and trust between people. The nature of the relationship between the participants, whether they are close friends, family members, co-workers, or even strangers, plays a crucial role in shaping how communication occurs. The quality of the relationship heavily influences how messages are sent and received. This image shows two individuals having a casual and engaged conversation, which illustrates key aspects of interpersonal context. The relaxed setting, body language, and expression suggest that these individuals share a familiar and comfortable relationship, likely friends or maybe close acquaintances. The informal nature of the conversation, shown by their casual clothing and open body language, indicates that these individuals know each other well. In relationships where there is a high level of familiarity, people are more likely to communicate openly and freely without fear of judgment or misunderstanding. This allows for more honest and expressive conversations, which is visible in the animated gestures of the person speaking. Both individuals appear at ease, sitting close together, which suggests that they have built trust and mutual respect. The speaker is using gestures to emphasize his point, and the listener is engaged, indicating that there is a two-way connection where both feel comfortable expressing their thoughts and ideas. In such relationships, communication is often more empathetic and supportive, allowing for deeper connections. Interpersonal context encompasses the roles people play in their relationships, whether it's professional, personal, or social. One of the strengths of interpersonal context is that it allows for tailored communication. By understanding the nature of the relationship, we can adjust our communication style to fit the situation, which helps with stronger connections and more effective interaction. In intimate relationships, for example, people are often more open and empathetic, which helps deepen trust and emotional bonds. In professional relationships, understanding the appropriate level of formality can help foster respect and cooperation. However, just like the other contexts we've discussed, interpersonal context can also have its downsides. One common challenge is that it can lead to misinterpretation or tension if one party misunderstands the nature of the relationship or has different expectations. For example, if a colleague interprets a friendly conversation as overly familiar in a professional setting, it might create discomfort or blur boundaries. Likewise, interpersonal conflicts can arise when one person feels that the balance of power is unequal or when communication patterns do not align with the relationship's expectation. Interpersonal context also has a significant impact on how people navigate conflicts. In a professional setting, conflict between a manager and an employee might be handled with formal language and careful consideration of hierarchy to avoid escalating the situation. In contrast, conflicts in personal relationships are often more emotionally charged, as people may feel more comfortable expressing their true feelings, even if it leads to heated arguments. The depth of the relationship often dictates how much emotions is allowed in the communication exchange. Another potential drawback is the pressure to conform to interpersonal expectations in relationships where there is a clear power dynamic, such as teacher to students, employer to employee, or parent to child. The person in the lower position may feel hesitant to express their true opinions, just as we discussed with situational context. This can limit open communication and create barriers to addressing issues openly. The fear of disappointing someone with higher authority or damaging the relationship can stifle honest communication. In conclusion, interpersonal context shapes how we communicate with others based on our relationship with them. Taking into account factors like familiarity, power dynamic, roles, and emotions. It guides our communication style, whether formal or informal, direct or indirect, and it helps us to navigate the complexities of our interactions, making sure that we approach each relationship with the appropriate level of respect, trust, and understanding. In summary, situational, cultural, and interpersonal contexts all shape how we communicate. Together, these contexts determine the tone, style, and appropriateness of our interactions in our daily lives. That is all from me. Thank you.